All right, I'm back. Uh, I had a nice little weekend break, and I ended up kind of ran into a problem. I have some old keyboards, old MIDI keyboards, and they work great, but they are just regular DIN, 5-pin DIN MIDI out, and I really needed that to be USB MIDI, so it would be easy to just plug into computers and go for it. Kind of more modern style. Um, so I challenged myself to. I was gonna just buy some MIDI converter, you know, boxes. They're pretty cheap. Um, but I needed a bunch of them because I have a bunch of old keyboards. So maybe like I want 4 or 5 of them, and I didn't want to end up spending 100, $200 buying little MIDI converters. So I looked around in my parts bin, and I have a bunch of parts available, and I actually had everything I needed to build them. So I challenged myself to like a kind of a 24-hour deadline. Um, what's this say? Somebody says hello there, worst twit something. Nice to see you. If you're there, not actually a bot. Anyway, so what happened is I had all the parts, and I gave myself kind of a challenge to quickly design or find a design and put prototype a circuit, basically, get it all working, write the firmware, and then design an enclosure and build one within 24 hours. That was my goal. And I did it, and it turned out really well. This is what it looks like. Basically, it has DIN on this side. I don't know if I can get that to focus. It goes from DIN to micro USB on this side, and the top just have LEDs. One is for when a note is turned on. One is for when a note goes off. One kind of variable brightness to show modulation, like a mod wheel on a keyboard or MIDI control messages. And the other one is the pitch bend. It'll be dark in the middle, and then if you pitch down, it gets brighter, and if you pitch up, it gets brighter. Here's a follow. Oh wow, thank you. Yeah, good to see you here. Not sure what brought you, but I'm building electronics these days. What these are this is a MIDI to USB MIDI converter. So what it is you can plug in an old MIDI keyboard, and on this end you plug it into your computer, and it will understand the USB MIDI signals. I built one, and it's working, and I also designed the enclosure. Okay, so details about this, because what I'm doing is continuing to build these today. I'll be soldering these up and trying to build, I think I'm going to build maybe 3 to 4 more of these. I have one. I'm hoping to have 4 or 5 at the end, because I have a bunch of old keyboards that I want to use these with. All right, so how did I go about this? Let's see. I'm going to go to, which camera are we going to go to? This is my... I almost picked the wrong one. There we go. So I started at Notes and Volts. This is a great website. The guy who runs this is really great. He has a lot of great MIDI type, music related electronics projects. But I ended up having the 6N138 optocouplers. I had them laying around, a bunch of them. That I didn't even know about, and it seemed like a lot of those are kind of an older model, and they're a little bit, I don't know about older, but it's just a different kind of model, and I know they're a little bit slower, and a lot of people now are using 6N137s, which I guess are faster, but I already had these 6N138s laying around, and just so happened that Notes and Volts had a circuit diagram on their website, and so this is the one I kind of pulled up, And this is what I followed. And first I breadboarded it. I'll show you that in a second. I breadboarded that out and then tested it, and it worked great. But his code on here on his website just had basic, like, turn a light on or off when a note was sent. Had no kind of other information. It was just a simple kind of diagnostic to show that signals were being, sent from the DIN into the computer. So I've written a lot of code firmware with the MIDI USB package or library. And so that's what I ended up doing is I just kind of completely rewrote the firmware from the ground up, and basically used the MIDI library to read the serial MIDI stuff from the DIN, and then used the USB MIDI library to then retransmit whatever it got over the serial connection and retransmit it and send it out as USB MIDI. And that worked great. Wasn't too many problems. Actually, what ended up causing problems were these little LED indicators, just trying to get them to light up at the right spots and things. I first just kind of threw a delay in there, not thinking, like to just turn the light on for 1/100th of a second or whatever, and then turn off. That ended up, when I would play notes really fast, it would cause delays. All the delays would build up. So then I had to write, like some code that would track how many milliseconds, had passed and all those kinds of things to turn it on and off. At any rate, I did all that and eventually got this smoothed out, and all the firmware is working well now. I can show you that, and I can share all that as well at some point if anyone is interested. Okay, so got this guy running. I think what we'll do now is switch over cams, and I'll go to the microscope and all that stuff. So I'm going to switch over now. Where are we at? We are on, I'm going to just switch to cam 2. Where am I at? Main camera. There we go. Cam 2. Okay. So, yeah. So what am I going to do? I'm going to switch over there. I'm going to mute this mic. I'll be right back. All right. So I'm going to migrate over here now, and then we can work on some other stuff. I'm trying to free up some space for the mouse and my controller for the mics and all that stuff. Okay. Here we go. So, and if anyone is out there and you're watching, I can't really see chat from over here, just kind of looking at the camera. I kind of glance over. I can usually read it a little bit, but it's kind of hard sometimes. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to jump. I think I can switch over to, it's not that one. Where's it at? That's the microscope. Nope. Why do I always have? There it is. That's the iPhone view. Okay, so this gives you this iPhone is really terrible quality, but there you go. So this is the enclosure that I designed in Fusion 360. This is one I just finished printing, so it has kind of a bottom plate here and the top. And I guess I'll show you the Fusion 360 design in a second, but this is the circuit that I built. Breadboard. So that circuit I showed you on the screen, I kind of wired those up. I used the Arduino Pro Micro because it's an Arduino Leonardo type clone, and so it worked really well. I had no issues with this. It's good for using MIDI USB. So anyway, this was the breadboard I mocked up, and it worked. And then I kind of started developing the firmware from there. And that all worked out really well. I think what I'm going to do really quickly is, so from there I started to work on the kind of proto boards. And this is what I'm building now. I put these together. The components are just sitting in there right now. These would all fall out. But this is the second one I'm building. I just started putting this together this morning. But I thought I would show you what it's looking like. This was kind of my layout for the proto board that then goes into the red box. And that's what I'm going to solder here in a second. I think I'm debating about maybe just putting together, kind of getting all the components placed in 4 of these, and then just doing all 4 at once or something like that. I think that could be kind of a good plan. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to switch back cameras for a second. Here, I'm going to just leave both of these unmuted. Here, let me get that. Oh boy. Oops. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Okay. I'm going to come back over here for a second now. You've seen the breadboard. I think where I'm going to go now. Okay, there's the main camera. Nope, we want the this one. Nope, not that one. This one. Okay, so here is, oh wait, do I have Fusion on here? I think I do. I don't know if this is gonna work. Let's see. Hopefully I can open Fusion on this computer. I usually work on my Mac, but I am on a PC right now. Let's see if this works. Here, I'm gonna do this. Kind of, oops. Off screen. Okay, there we go. Fusion is booting up here. Can bring this guy back now. Why can't I move it? Maybe because it's loading. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So Fusion is loading up. Okay, and I'm gonna go to my project browser. And okay, where is it? I'm looking for it. I don't see it in here, which is weird. Huh. Why isn't it in here? This should all be kind of cloud sunk. I'm kind of confused where it might have gone. Maybe I can't show you this then. I don't know why it's doing that. That's super strange. Maybe because I haven't updated. Update, you're not connected to the internet. Why are we not connected to the internet? We should definitely be connected to the internet. It says we're connected, and I think I'm able to get websites, so that is not factual. Working offline. Oh, there. No. There. Going online. Let's see if this will go online now. I'm not sure what's happening here. It thought we were offline, that we weren't connected to the internet, so it wasn't enabling me to load that up. Taking a break for, I saw just a comment, taking a break from the Kajimi. Not necessarily taking a break. I guess I am, but I'm ready. I think I'm ready to start soldering the voice cards. I am just update now. Here, I'm going to try to update Fusion. I don't know what was going on there, but hopefully this update will work, and I'll be able to show you what I was working on. No, basically I'm not taking a break, but I got distracted from the Kajimi for a second. What I was showing earlier is I'm building these MIDI DIN to MIDI USB converter boxes. I have some. I was working on some music this weekend, and I have some old keyboards. I've been designing these little touch keyboards that have 48 keys, but the keys are quite close together, and they're just copper tape strips, and they're conductive with touch sensors. And those are great, and they're really great for like pads and things where you just have to like, hold them down and, do things like that. But I've been playing piano on a couple pieces that start to move a little faster, and I find myself hitting side-by-side notes. So I have some old MIDI keyboards around with, kind of a traditional keyboard layout and all that stuff. and I want to start using those, but they aren't MIDI USB, and it's a pain. And I have many of them. I have like 3 or 4 or 5 of them or something. So I was gonna just buy them, but I had all the parts around, so I gave myself kind of a 24-hour time period to design the circuit, write the firmware, and fabricate the box, and I did, which I'm amazed. So it was a good kind of test there, and that's what I'm doing today. Is the first one, the prototype worked, and now I built the first one, and now I'm just gonna try to bust out making 3 or 4 more kind of assembly line style and building those out so I can use the old keyboards. And then I'm going to jump straight back to building the voice cards. I think I'm going to start with one voice card, do all the surface mount components with the hot air, including the capacitors, which worked out in my last test. So I'm going to do the SOIC chip and the capacitors on the back of the first card, and then load up. I'm still waiting, by the way, I had to order a couple missing parts, some resistors and an IC that I didn't realize for the voice card, so I'm waiting on those to come anyway from Mauser. So while I'm waiting, this is a good kind of in-between break time, and then I'll flip it over, do all the stuff, and then do all those through-hole mounts and try to finish the first card. And then I think I'm going to try to put it all together maybe, and fire it up with one card in there after some testing and see how that goes, because I know other people have done that, and see if I can calibrate card 1 and then maybe find any bugs or things that I haven't figured out or that I need to figure out from card 1 and then move 2 through 8. I mean, that's the plan so far. Which 3D printer are you using? Yeah, I'll show you in a second. That I'm using the Sindo 3D Wax printer. I believe they're around 1,000-ish on Amazon, something like that. I don't know. I used to work in education, and so I got a pretty good deal on mine because I was buying in bulk from the direct from the manufacturer. I actually met them, the manufacturers in China, in like near Huashangbei, for a Fab Lab conference in 2017. So I had a pretty good relationship with them. Yeah, and I'll show you that in a second. And that's what I'm hoping to do here. I don't know if I have the 3D Walk software on this computer either. Okay, here. I don't know what's happening. It keeps telling me I'm not connected to the internet, which is crazy. I'm like super confused what's going on with Fusion. It keeps getting kind of stuck and trying to, I don't know what's going on. So this may not work. Like I said, I usually do everything like this on the Mac. And so I'm like rusty with my PC stuff anyway. And everything seems to be going wrong, and I don't really have half of this stuff installed, so I'm not sure exactly what the heck's going on. Here, let me try this again though. Trying to open the Fusion install file. Okay, that seems to be going okay this time. My goal here is to get Fusion 360 up and running and show you how I designed the enclosure, and then I'm actually would like to start 3D printing a new enclosure. It may be a little bit of a nuisance on this stream hearing in the background, but I do want to get them started. Just the top part of this case takes I think 5 or 6 hours. I mean, the 3D printer is great, but it's so slow. I used to have access to a laser cutter at work, and that was fantastic. I did a lot of laser cutting projects, which I really enjoy working with that stuff. All right, so let's see here. We're at 95%. Hopefully I can get Fusion up and running, and then I can show you how I designed this. If this doesn't work, like I said, I'll just skip this and maybe start with the 3D printing stuff. Problem installing, what's wrong? Not sure what's preventing installation. Okay, yeah. I don't know what's going on. Maybe because I'm streaming right now, like OBS is interfering or something. I mean, it could be all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna give up on that, unfortunately. Hopefully I can show you those at another time. Let's see if I have the 3D Walk software. I do have it installed on here. I'm sure it's out of date too. Okay, well, it's asking me to update. Maybe I can skip the update and just use it though. Oh, I don't have any of the files on here. Boy, it's a nuisance switching computers. So yeah, I don't have any of the 3D files on here either, but so we'll have to do that another time. Can I show you the printer? Yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna switch back over here, and I'll show you really quickly the 3D printer. I'm gonna go to the iPhone view. That's the prototype board that I set up. There we go. And let's see, can I quickly rotate this around and show you? Yeah, that's the 3D Walks printer that I'm using. It's great. It's definitely it's not one of the fastest printers out there, to say the least. It's actually quite slow. But I don't mind because the quality from the printer is quite good. And it is also very, what do I want to say, easy to use. It's not very complicated. It is kind of like, in one sense, it's kind of proprietary, the cartridge system. They have like a housing with filament you load, and has a chip that's in there that keeps track of the color and how much you have left. But it's actually not that bad because they do have an open mode. Not this model, but newer models have like an open mode, so you can use other kinds of filaments and all that kind of stuff. But I hardly ever use it. I just use PLA in this one, and it's great. I just go for it. Keeps things simple. It's great because it has a heated bed, and the chip thing really isn't a problem. I mean, it's about the same price to buy as any other kind of filament, and the good thing is it's guaranteed to kind of work because it's formulated perfectly for that. I've done a ton of 3D printing, and they're always a nuisance, and I like this because it's kind of set it and forget it. The filament breaks sometimes. Sometimes you get maybe, not a clog, but maybe just something that will error out a little bit, or you get a messed up print, but 90% of the time this thing just runs for like 12 hours, finishes the print, and you're done, and you don't have to think about it, which I love. So I've had really good, I think the newest version is the 3D Walks 1, and that one's great. And it has that open filament. I have used the, not ABS, but there's a really good one for outdoor stuff. I was building outdoor enclosures, and that worked really well too. Okay, so back to this. Let me grab the mouse again. All right. Got the mouse. I'm going to go ahead and mute the other mic so it doesn't pick up a bunch of stuff. Okay. As I was showing before, this is my prototype board. Maybe I can switch over there again to that cam. If I can find my mouse. There we are. Yeah, we're already there, I guess. Okay, yeah, so this was my breadboard that I kind of put together to test the circuit. And I got this circuit on another website. It's not like I designed this circuit, and then this was the proto boards that I started putting together. I just laid out the components in here. These haven't been soldered yet. I'm about to do that in a second. But what I think I'm going to do is just put together 3 or 4 more of these, because I do want to make like 4 or 5 of these boxes because I have a bunch of keyboards. And I'm going to just do them all at once, I think. This is the 3D enclosure that I designed. You can kind of get an inside look. There are 3mm nuts on the inside of these legs that I built in there, and I designed like the hexagon shape, and then press fit the nuts down inside there. So then when you put this on, you can just kind of, and these are countersinked with some chamfers, so I can just screw the screws right in there, and it will tighten up on there to finish. And then really it's just like a super simple circuit, 4 LEDs, a DIN connector, and then I'm using these Arduino Pro Micros that are Leonardo based, so it's really easy to do the USB over MIDI stuff. Alright, that said, I'm going to get this prototype out of the way now, kind of stick it over there. and just start working on this stuff. So I have one board here pretty much laid out. It's done. I think what I'm going to do is just move on and do the other couple boards. It is tricky getting everything in the enclosure at the end, for sure. I actually didn't have a lot of fun doing that. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do, I need this head magnifier, and I'm going to take off the headphones for a while so I won't hear any beeps or anything if you guys happen to write anything. Let me see a second. Yeah, nothing there. Okay, so stick these over here. There we go. Kind of take a look at this guy. Okay, so the spacing I used on the first one actually worked out quite well, so I'm just going to use the same kind of spacings and everything for each one. It basically just has one diode in this circuit's like really nice and easy to do. It just has like one diode and some 220 ohm resistors, and then I think it's 4.7 kilo ohm resistor, and that's it. So they're pretty straight. They're pretty darn straightforward, which is great. So I'll just take 3 of these out for now. Those are the 4.7 kilo ohm resistors. So you just need one of those, and then I need 4 220 ohm resistors for the LEDs, and then 2 other 220 ohm resistors that go in the circuit. So I need 6 total for each one. So I think I'm going to just break these off in kind of groupings of 6, so I can, have them ready. Oops. And then, because I think like I said, what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to just try to build all 3 or 4 in one go. And then, just be done with this project. So I'm hoping I can finish all of these today, either on or off stream. And then tomorrow I'll probably start on the first voice card for the Kijimi. Because I do really want to get back to that project. I feel like I always find something to distract myself from finishing that project, but I really wanted to just get this done because it's a quick, easy project, and it is relatively quick. So there you go. So the way I've been doing these is pretty straightforward. I always mess stuff up. Boy, it's really, I have to say, it's really been hard learning how to stream and work on this stuff at the same time. I have to say, it's not fun because I get wrapped up in what I'm talking about, and I start to kind of space out on paying attention to what I'm doing. So it may be a miracle if my Kijimi or anything else works right, because I'm doing all this stuff while I'm talking, which is probably not smart. I don't know how other streamers do it. I don't know how other streamers like play video games that are like super fast paced and pay attention to the people chatting and stuff. And I don't really have anyone even chatting to me on here, and I think it's hard. If I had like 100 people chatting, I guess you just start to kind of ignore them a little bit at some point. You're not constantly on point with them, but they're always surprisingly really on point when I watch them talk to people. I mean, I think when they get really big, they have moderators and all that stuff that end up jumping in as well. Okay, I'm trying not to screw up here, so wait, is that 4? Yeah, 2 to 4. 2 to 4. Trying to keep my pins correct here. Actually, I have no choice. I have to keep these correct or I'm going to mess up my circuits. I'd be really mad at this point if I do all this and then do it wrong because I'm spaced out. That should be 1 and... All right, so it's always tricky laying out these boards and things. I wish I started getting really into circuit stuff. I'm still a novice by all means, but I started really getting into it to the point where I was starting to learn like Eagle and different board layout programs. That's something I would still really like to do, is start to just get to a point where I'm not doing this proto board stuff and I could just start laying out my own circuit designs and then just having them manufactured. It is kind of the next logical step for all this stuff, I think, and I think I'll get there at some point. But it is quite a lot of work. I'm always surprised by the circuit board layout stuff is really nebulous. It's really kind of opaque trying to learn those software packages like KiCad or KiCad, whatever you want to call it, and those kinds of things. Here, I'm going to double check my work, make sure I'm laying this out properly. I believe that I am. Yeah, I think these are correct. Great. So I'm going to gently put these over here and then move on to my third one. Okay. I'm debating how many of these I'm going to build. I don't really know at this point. I'm trying to figure that out now as I'm going here. How many of these am I going to build? Because I only have one. This will be my third, so that'll be 4. I think I have enough for 5 if I take my breadboard, because I think I have 5 of the optocouplers. So perhaps, I don't know whether to just do 4 or whether I'm going to do all of them. I was debating about maybe just doing 4 and leaving that 5th optocoupler, and then maybe trying to at some point design a more advanced one that had MIDI in and out, and those kinds of things. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just leave the 5th for another day, and then maybe I'll design a box that not only has this, because this one is just DIN MIDI in to USB MIDI, and that's it. There's nothing else going on, and I mean no MIDI out or anything. Maybe I'll do one that I'll do just one box that's capable of doing USB MIDI out. Not that right now I don't really need it. That's why I kind of skipped it. But maybe it'll just be nice to have one around, because everything always comes in handy at some point. So maybe I'll do that. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Boy, it's nice not having the headphones on while I work. It feels a bit odd too. Streaming's weird. It's like I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm just like I am talking to myself really. I mean, every once in a while I'll see a chat or whatever and respond, but you're kind of like, I feel like the Village Crazy Man, where you're just sitting here and like talking to no one, even if you know certain people are out there, if they see it asynchronously or whatever. But it's kind of weird having conversations with yourself all day. All right, so let's get this going. Correct. mess this up. It leaves one hole there. Is that in line with that? Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Those are correct. Definitely don't want to mess these points up. Oh. And I got lucky. I had just all of these parts on hand. I know I had been doing some other MIDI projects, so I'm sure that's where these were all kind of about from those kinds of things. But I had no idea really, and I ended up finding it, which was great. And I had everything. I thought I couldn't find the what is it? The diodes for a long while. I thought I was shot. I always hate that when you find everything and just not one part, because then it's like if you go on Mauser, that part, you buy like 25 of them and it'll cost like $1. And then you're like, oh, I have $8 shipping. So, it's their way to kind of get you to upgrade all the time, I guess. But let me double check these. I think I am correct, but I want to definitely check. Because I'd almost rather not find any of the parts or be short, 10 out of 20 or something. So it doesn't make me feel bad when I have to go on Mauser and order one or two things and pay like $8 of shipping. Kind of crazy. Anyway, so there's 3 of them kind of ready, and with that one it would be 4 boxes. I think I'm going to hold it there because I only have... Do I have one more optocoupler? How many do I have? Hold on. Where are they at? Yeah, I have 3 in here. Perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 3 more and call it good. Yeah, because I don't want to go to that other one. And I already have my Pro Micros. I've already flashed the firmware on there, which I didn't show you, which could be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that after this, though. So I do have the firmware there. I'm going to put these diodes and stuff away before I mess them all up and lose them. But yeah, I do have... I did write the firmware. That was fun. I have a GitHub. I'm going to have to... I'm really bad at, I'm always just moving quickly, so I never really capture and document well. But I really need to get back onto GitHub and I guess capture all this, some more photos. That's what I'm trying to get better at, basically, is I'm going to try to get photos. I'm doing the streams, of course, but I'm going to try to put some photos and also all the firmware and everything on my GitHub. So, if other people want to do stuff, they have an easy way. They could just grab it and go. That would be kind of good. Okay. So there we go. So I have 4 LEDs. I've been using these 2 blue for the modulation and the pitch wheel, and then a green and a red for note on and off. It's just what I have around. It's kind of I don't really have a lot of LEDs around, which is kind of bad. So I don't really have much choice. So I'm going to get 3 of each of these out and have these just kind of on the ready here. And then I guess we need double those. 2, 2, 2. And I think what I'm going to do is just quickly test all these LEDs. I don't want to solder this all in the box and then find out that it doesn't work later. That'd be a bummer. So what I'll show you is what I've been doing here. So I have a 3 volt, I think it's a 3 volt, yeah, 3 volt watch battery, and you can just kind of, without a resistor in there, it's not too much, you can kind of just test them all real quick and make sure everything works. Okay, yeah, those are all working. Make sure they're also the right color. These translucent LEDs, it's really hard to tell sometimes what's going on. Okay, good. Yeah, red's working. Number 1, 2, 3. Yeah, good. Might have mixed those up, but I think I didn't. Okay, all working. Good. So, stick this guy over to the side. Okay, so those are ready to go too. Now what? And then here are my DIN connectors I've been using. These are kind of flimsy on the back. These have been a pain in the butt, but they're not too bad. I just got to get two of those out. I already have one of them kind of in this enclosure. I haven't printed the enclosures, like I said. I'll have to start those after. I wanted those to kind of run now. They take quite a long time. That's okay. Okay, so these are ready to go. I'm going to use my kind of fancy setup over here. I got to move these keyboards. Hold on 1 second. Move this over here. Move this one over. Then I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to move this over here now. Hopefully you can see what's going on. There. Okay. So this thing is a soldering kind of station. And the way it works, I'm trying to move this stuff out. I really got to clean up in here. Okay, so what are we going to do? So first you pop this top off. And what it is, it has this padding stuff on it, this foam that's like used to compress this thing down. And then what I'm going to do is take each of my circuits and place them in here. Well, this is going to be tricky. I think what I'm going to do is tighten up the bottom one first, like that. Oh, this guy's already tight up at the top. I'm just going to loosen one of them. Kind of set to the right size because I did these the other day too. Trying not to drop these, it's going to be a bummer. Okay, try to get these side by side. Last one, let's see if I can pull this off. Maybe I can do this and slide it over. Good, perfect. And then I'm going to compress these guys down. They kind of have springs in here so you can kind of compress the circuits down a bit so they stay in there. Okay, so then that holds your circuits that way. Then what you do is you stick this foam guy on top again. There we go, and then you tighten this down, and what's happening is the foam compresses down around your components. I'm always worried a little bit about the IC holder because it's a little more raised. If you have a lot of high things like that, I have had trouble like pots and things in there with the big things, but this seemed to work okay. So that's nice and tightened down, and then what you do is you just flip this thing over. Boy, I have so much junk in here. Okay, there we go. And now, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can see pretty well. We have everything kind of compressed in there, so now it should be pretty straightforward to solder this. And I did some experiments yesterday with this solder I have. This is the solder I'm using, by the way. I got this, it's Oster. I got this on Amazon, and I actually like this. It's lead-free, but I actually studied their melting temperatures, and I think it said like, I have 400, 470, something like that. But what other people I realized on there were saying as well is that is not correct. I basically had to go up much higher. I think I was in 500 range before it would even start to melt. But even then, it was kind of just barely melting. I think I got up to 600 and it would melt pretty reliably. But on bigger components that really sucked up a lot of heat, I ended up going up to 700 Fahrenheit rather, and it seems to melt really well there. I was doing it at 750 before. I think that's a bit on the hot side, but it does work well. So I basically am sticking to 700 right now. I may drop down to 600, 650 at some point. And I also did switch a new tip on my iron here, and that definitely has helped a little as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can solder these guys up now. I can't really, this iPhone, I can't really zoom in with this. I never have the right camera set up in the right positions, but oh well, you get the idea. So, what's this? Oh, it's tough to see stuff. At least for me. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to do any of the cross connects because that gets really confusing. I messed up several times yesterday and actually had to desolder a couple joints, which is always annoying. But at least we could do that and fix them up. I always get confused when you're flipping these circuit boards over and upside down that the circuit gets reversed. So I'd actually be soldering the opposite side to what I was thinking I was soldering because it's backwards when you flip it. So it's kind of annoying, but it all worked out in the end. Okay. Some of these are a little loose, but it doesn't really matter. And who knows, maybe I'll be in the way when I flip it over and they're really far from the mark, but just as long as they're kind of soldered, I don't really care with this. And some of these maybe I should, I usually, spend some time and for the ones that feel loose like this, do what I'm doing now. I don't always, but I'm going to kind of pull the legs, so hopefully it kind of tightens it up. All right, here we go. Another one. This is tough. Like a forest of little leads here. It's really hard to tell what I'm doing. I actually think 700 is actually the optimal temperature for this solder because I am flowing really well now. It just seems to be going on smooth as butter. I'm sure that eats up the tip a lot faster. I think in future, even though I like this lead-free solder, I mean, it definitely doesn't leave gunk or anything. It is clean. Solder is definitely clean. It is not bad solder. It just has an extremely high melting temperature. I mean, I know in general, the lead-free stuff always has higher melting temperatures, has been my experience. Because there's no lead in there. But I think if I could, I might want to in future see if I could source a lead-free solder that had a bit of a lower melting temperature. I think that would be useful. Because I'm not sure, I've had problems in the past with components not working properly. And sometimes I think with pots and things that have an arm in there that moves, I think I've actually overheated them using the 750 and stuff. It's really hard to tell sometimes because sometimes those are components that I buy off of AliExpress in the thousands. So sometimes I'll get 1,000 pots because it's just so much cheaper that way. But that said, sometimes I really wonder if is it what do I want to say? Is it me or soldering them and maybe destroying a component, or is it just a certain amount of those are defective, or both? So it gets really hard to do kind of detective work though, and really figure out what's going on. Plus, it's just your time. Is it really worth figuring out? You just kind of move on. But if I could in future, I would really love to be able to just order really high quality everything all the time. That is definitely the nice thing to do, like just order good quality components. But I do notice that sometimes I get like, certain safe things like getting resistors and things. Like, God, I bought like thousands of resistor packs on AliExpress and have a nice collection of a huge range of resistors now, and they were dirt cheap. I mean, I paid a fraction of what I would have paid to get all of those from Mauser and DigiKey. So AliExpress definitely has its place for certain stuff. But like this project, like building the Kajimi, I don't think I would use anything from AliExpress just because I just don't trust it enough. I don't trust that some of those components are reliable enough, or things like that. I have had things like even with resistors and things where it says, oh, it's 1%, and then I measure the values and they're like 10, and so I don't know what that is. I don't know if they're just completely lying or if it was just a bad batch. And sometimes I think that's what happens on there too. They will put a batch of stuff on there that's super cheap, and it's because it's defective in some way. And they're just trying to quickly not take a loss and move it out cheap. Sometimes that doesn't matter that much. Sometimes it does. So your mileage may vary with AliExpress is the point. I usually use it for prototyping or stuff that's just, I don't really care that much about. But if it's a big project like the Kajimi or something really nice, I think it's better just to source just about everything from a better supplier. But honestly, I bet most of the stuff from Mauser and DigiKey is coming from the same factories anyway. But again, I have visited China, like Huaqiangbei in Shenzhen, and there are just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of those producers, and so it's really hard to know where you're getting that stuff from and how good it is. Okay, so that went pretty well. That was quick. This thing is this frame thing that holds these is kind of expensive, but my God, it really is like a lifesaver. It's just it makes all this so much easier and quick to do. Some of those are a little raised or whatever, but I don't care. I'll show you in a second. Here, I'm gonna kind of shift this back. Put this thing back on. If I can line it up. Okay, there we go. And I'll shift this guy back over. Hopefully we can get kind of a better view going again. There we go. So maybe what I'll do is shift to the main cam. There we go. And maybe I can show you guys this stuff this way. Here we go. So here are here's one that I worked on. Some of these kind of shifted a little bit more than the first one. I wasn't quite as picky about this, but there we go. I did 3 of these. They all look pretty good. I don't think I cross-connected anything. Yeah. They're all pretty good. This one moved a little too next to the optocoupler, but I think it's all fine. They all look good. So I guess now what I will do is start the cross connections. And I think what I'm going to do is I took some pictures on the computer of the first one, and maybe I'll pull those up and look at them, or maybe just look at the schematic. But I definitely need to this is the part you got to be really careful about, that I did make mistakes yesterday. And before I trim, it is handy to be able to bend some of the leads over and things. I can't remember how I did it yesterday. I think I just cut all of them this first round and then just did everything with solder, but we'll see here. Let me quickly pull this up over here. Maybe that's what I'll do, and see how these look. Okay. Here we go. This guy muted. I do have it muted. So we'll unmute that. All right, here we go. So let's look at, I can't look at these. Oh my goodness, they're all on the other Mac. Yoy. It's always something, isn't it? Okay, so let's just stick with what we were doing. I think that's fine. I'll be able to do this, I think, from memory. This sounds like famous last words. A little bit. So I'm just going to give this a quick visual, make sure these look okay. They do so far. I do kind of have these somewhat memorized from doing this last time. It's really not a very complicated circuit or anything at all. But that said, devil's in the details and everything does get tricky always. So what do we have to do now? I do need to at least look at the circuit on nuts and bolts here. Oh boy, I'm always like, never have the right thing to right place. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, I'm going to just leave that up there. So those just go to the legs. Okay. Back to it here. So let's look at this. Maybe we should we switch views up? I was just looking at the schematic again, making sure I get this right. I don't know which view is better, if this one is, or lost my mouse over here. There we go. Yeah, I think this one's going to be better. Okay, so this guy goes, this lead and this lead will go to the DIN connector. But this is what I got stuck with last time. I soldered the DIN connector pins on, and these are actually really flimsy, and they started cracking off, and I almost lost my DIN. So I do want to be a bit sensitive and careful about that. But the other trick is we have to solder the leads on and thread it through here first, and then solder those leads into the board without moving them around too much. So let's see. How are we going to do this? So we need, I'm going to use white, green, and black. I try to stick with black and red as my ground and my ground and what do I want to say? Positive. Links are always tricky with these things. I'm going to go with that. Just kind of making it up. I remember a little bit of what it looked like last time. Okay. And I guess we're going to need 3 of these, 1 for each one. So I guess I just do 3 at a time. These are definitely long side. I could probably get it much shorter, but I like to leave a lot of slack because it always seems to take up more than you think. I mean, just trying to position in things. there's a lot of room in the box and all that stuff. Okay, so here's our white. I also quite like using this solid core wire from Consolidated. I really like this stuff better than stranded most of the time. Okay, so got those three for that, and now we need grounds for the DIN. Now this was actually in his circuit to ground the DIN connector, but I always think that yes, I would say ground it. I don't know. I don't know if I need this necessarily, but it can't be a bad idea to ground. I thought more than not just safety, because I don't think there's any real voltage coming across there, but more than that, I think it's, I thought about noise. I just thought it would be a good idea to ground coming from the keyboard MIDI connector and run it to ground. Maybe it would help with, you know, noise. Oh, yikes. Okay, there we go. Did I just break everything? Whew, that was scary. Yeah, I always try to solve grounding issues before they happen. All right. Okay, so we got those cut up. Now, go ahead and do these. I'll just strip the edges. It's the really, I feel like the really boring parts of the stream. You know, this part probably really isn't meant for streaming. I consider doing stuff offline, or you know, or preparing all this stuff offline and then just doing the fun bits, or maybe just, you know, edit things into YouTube videos and such. But I don't want to just sit and edit YouTube videos all day. I've seen other people do this kind of stuff too, and I feel like you just, you know, after the fact, scrub around and find the bits that you need anyway. So I figure that's what people can do with these videos, is just scrub through when it's something they know or don't need to do or whatever. All right. Those are done. Let's make sure my LEDs fit. Last time there was no worries. Each time you print. Okay, those are perfect again. They're kind of like a press fit in there, which is great. Happy about that. I've gotten really good with 3D design stuff and printing and all the tolerances involved. That's kind of an art form of knowing if it's, you know, 3 millimeter this or that. It's not actually 3 millimeter. Maybe you need 3.2 millimeters to make sure, you know, you have the right fit and things like that. All that stuff's really tricky. Like this thing for the DIN connector, getting the holes just right so it just fits in here like this. It's kind of tricky. But after you do it for a while, you do kind of fall into a rhythm with that stuff too. Okay, those are done. Now, how am I going to do this? Am I going to solder that first again? I think what I'm going to do is build the whole board first, and then soldering that DIN on is going to be my last step, because I have to put this in here. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to do it. I don't want to solder it in here because I'm going to end up bumping around on the sides. It's going to be a really awkward angle. I don't want to solder it in here. So I definitely want to solder these on out here, thread the wires through, and then solder the wires into the board. But I think I'm going to do that last. So I'm going to put those aside and then focus on the other bit. So those two solders will be last. How am I going to connect? All of those need to connect to that, and that needs to connect to that. So this one can be cut. And I'm going to do this a little smarter this time. I'm going to cut this one. And I'm going to bend this one over and use that as my kind of a solder path, so to speak. And same with this one, because these both need to go to there. I'm going to bend these over, run it into the other ones. Okay, there. Last time I just did like quite a bit of, what do I want to say? Just, you know, doing little mounds of solder, which works fine too. But it's easier when you use these leads. You can use a lot less solder, and it's kind of easier. Oh, the first time, by the way, here I need a helping hand. This thing's moving all over the place. The first time too, definitely I did make a mistake. Not a major mistake. I just I didn't realize. I missed basically one of the solders wasn't completely connected, and so I didn't have a ground connection soldered in, and I plugged it in and it wasn't working. And you start to go through those loops. I wasn't sure what was happening, whether it was my circuit then or what it was. Here, I gotta turn on this fan. But what it turned out to just be I didn't have one of the grounds connected. But then I was looking through the firmware. I was doing all this stuff. You never know what the heck is causing it, but it turned out to be that. So it was nothing major, but it did make me scratch my head for a little while wondering what the heck was going on. And then finally I just kind of noticed, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, the ground's not. I couldn't tell. It looked like it might not be connected, and I just gave it an extra pop of solder, and then when I hooked it up, it just all worked right away. So it was just the ground. Oops, bumped the camera. Okay, there we go. So those two are done. I believe kind of double, triple checking. Yes, yes, yes. Those don't connect to anything. They double check the circuit on the screen. 2 and 3 go with the diode. That goes to there. Yeah, I think those are correct. Now, the other side. Okay, so now we need a ground. These are connections to the board now, the Arduino. And I know I need a ground. Let me find my red. Here it is, red and blue wire. Okay. I'm going to cut these a bit long again. But again, I'd rather be on the long side than too short. And just bend this cable up into the box, which is what I did. Okay, there, ground, and that's. Okay, there we go. And then these other sides are shorter for soldering into the board. Let's see, and then let's see. I know we're going to we need 4 leads for the LEDs. I think these can be a little shorter, but I'll do them almost the same. I don't know, did I make that too short? That's on the short side. I'm going to throw that one to the side. I'm going to make these a little longer as well, just in case, for the long ones. Maybe what I'll do is I'll keep that last one for the shortest. Yeah, I think that'll be plenty long. Okay, so these are the blue ones I'm going to use, just all blue for each of the LEDs that I'm connecting up. And I guess I need a lot more of these for the other 3. So I'm going to have to do a bunch of these. Okay. There we go, 3 and 4. This will be for the second unit. The 4 LED leads for the second unit. And now I gotta just do one more for the third. One more group of 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Just cut them all the same size. Now what? Oh, I didn't do 3 groups of the red and black, so I'm gonna do that as well. So we need 2 more or 3 more reds this size ish. It's 2, 3. Oh wait, we have 3, right? Yeah, we got 3 of those, and we'll just do the same for the black. And maybe I'll use the black one just in case it's a little different. I think I did these the same. Okay, 1, 2. So these are just power and ground to the circuit from the Arduino. 3. Okay, so 3 power, 3 ground, 3 sets of 4 for the LEDs. And what am I forgetting now? I think there are only other things. So we have ground, power, and the RX pin. We need that. I think that's it. RX pin, is that correct? Yes, so for the RX pin, let's use a different one. Maybe I have a different color in here. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, so I have some yellow in here. I'll use yellow for the RX pin. Remember it being a little longer maybe? I'm going to go like that. Try that out. We're going to need 3 of those as well, 1 for each unit. 1, 2, and 3. It's also kind of good streaming because somehow it keeps me focused and under the gun. It slows things down sometimes, but then at the same time it also keeps you kind of on the ball and focused to just do it quickly. So it's always kind of good and bad. These are RX pins, so I'm stripping this one end kind of on the longer side, and then I strip the other end kind of on the short side because those are the ones getting soldered into the proto board. So that's how I'm doing it. Let's do. I'm just kind of. It's good. I like doing this kind of assembly style where you just prep it all up front. It needs to be a little longer. Okay. Strip these edges, blacks. Good. And then do these 3. This is the short end on this one, so I'm going to smatch it. Okay. That's a little short again. That one was too. I don't know why I keep doing that. Okay, there we go. Those 3 are done, and then let's start on the blues. Guess let's go short ends, and we'll go long strip ends. Okay, those are the short ends. Now we'll go long. And I don't know if you saw, but I'm kind of a fan of doing this with the Arduinos and such, is doing the female header pins and then just plugging these wires directly into them. This consolidated cable, I can't remember the exact size of it or what have you, but it's just about perfect for that. And I have had loose connections where it falls out and stuff, so if you're going to do this long term, it's probably not the best. But in general, the wire is kind of thick enough that it seats into those header pins quite well. Not as well as a real male header pin, but it just saves a ton of time, and I really haven't had many issues. But then again, it's not like I'm taking these things out to tour with them or something. So if I was doing that, I think I would probably I probably should be less lazy and do a little better with that. But so far, I haven't had any big issues. Okay, so maybe what we should do now is just start soldering all these in. Maybe that's a good idea. And maybe I'll start with these DIN connectors. I don't know, and just kind of get all the pieces on there because they're going to need to be threaded through and then soldered into the board at the end. Boy, it's tough. I'm not sure which. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Why not? Okay, so let's do a DIN connector. Maybe I should just be, because I'm not using them, breaking the others off. But for some reason I'm reluctant to do that. Maybe I'll repurpose these sometime for another project or whatever. It's always good to have them on there. So trying to just bend them out of the way if I can. There, because we just need those two. So I guess it doesn't matter which is which. Let's see if we can pre-tin all this stuff up. I'm going to try to do the outsides this time. There we go. I did melt one of the DIN connectors when I was using a lower temperature, and it kind of cut through. I don't think you can see that, but the pin melted down through, so I burned up that one. So I'm trying to do this relatively quick here. Now maybe what I'll do is, can I do these all at once? Or a bunch of them? Maybe I'll try to do this. Never tried this before. Seems like not a great idea. This seemed to be kind of staying. I think what I'm going to do is just try to pre-tin all these tips real quick. Even just a little on there helps quite a bit. A lot on my tip. I melted those two together for a second. Okay. Oh no, I just heard I knocked half the cables off the desk. It's not good. These are my black ones. Okay, I got most of those. Let's just do this last remaining white one that fell out. Okay. There we go. So now, let's do one. We're just going to arbitrarily pick this, but we'll do the white on the right side. I don't even know what number this is, actually. There. And we'll say greens are on the opposite side. I have quite a lot of solder on there, but I find that getting a little on there liquid always helps. Oops, didn't get it. There we go. And boy, I keep knocking everything off over here. My soldering iron keeps dragging through. So I'm going to move these over here. Okay, good. Now let's try to get a black lead on there. Oh, I didn't tin these at all on the actual connector. There. Yeah, I have to say 700 is working quite well with this solder. I think it's really the working temperature. You can go to 6 something. I was doing that and it does work, but the 700 is definitely a better temperature for these to do it quickly and really efficiently. Okay, so there's one DIN connector. Let's try to go for the next. I'm going to bend these guys out of the way. The ones I'm not using, kind of. Make this a bit easier on me. I'll just get that out of there. And then maybe I'll just pre-tin all this stuff up first. There we go. Got kind of shaky solder hands today. I had some coffee this morning. Probably not a good idea before soldering. Makes me kind of jittery. Boy, I got so much solder on that pin, but whatever, good enough. I don't think it's going anywhere. There, that one's done. Okay. Woo, hot potato. Okay, that looks good too. Clean. Done. Number 2's done. And I did break two of these pins off last time, so I'm trying to be much more kind of gentle with those guys this time around. Okay, last DIN connector to kind of work on here. Oops, I pulled it. Okay. White was the right side. Okay, good. Green. I was reluctant to go 700. I was really trying to make the 6 something work, but in the end, I also think the 700 is better because you're on there less time. It may be much hotter, but I'm able to just kind of get in and get out much more efficiently, which led me to think that's why I think it's the better working temperature. So I can kind of just quickly 2 or 3 seconds, like you're supposed to, get in, get out, and it's done. So I think that's pretty much the working temperature for this. You could go lower, but I think it's better. Okay, so those are kind of prepared. We have our 3 DIN connectors finished. Now on to some other stuff. So what's next? The DIN connector the 2 pins will connect here, and I think the ground connects over here. Okay, so now we have to do connections to this. So those two are those two. Yeah. 1, 2, and then that connects. Okay. So this one is connecting over to the IC. So is this one. This is the 220 ohm resistor. There. And then that one's connecting over here. The 470 to ground, yeah, correct. And then now that one, the other side of the 470, also connects over to this pin. Is that correct? Yeah, which is pin 7. Yeah. Well, that one is the one I had to just do all with the solder last time. This would be a little bit more easy, I think, a little more direct. And I think all of those need to go straight over, so that should work out pretty well. Now, where do these guys go? And then these guys are the positive sides. These guys are the negatives, so I think these guys are going to run this way. Out here. I messed these up last time. This is one I definitely messed up. I ended up reversing the legs of the LED resistors, or what have you. So we're just going to do that for now. And then all the positive sides just need to be trimmed off, correct? Yes, correct. Because they don't go anywhere. We're just going to use wire, so... Okay. Part's done. Alright, let's get this guy back in the jaws of life here and finish this one up. I'd really like to know out there too what other people use for, you know, like these visors. I really hate this one. I find it really difficult. It's blurry on the edges and everything. I mean, it does it, but I really hate it. If anyone has a really good quality, you know, visor or, you know, diopter, you know, headset that they use, really love to know. I mean, I could use, I guess, the microscope for this, but this kind of feels like overkill for the microscope to me. I mean, I guess it would be good just to kind of get used to it, but adjusting the microscope is no easy task either, especially on cam, and this is a lot easier. Okay, that went a lot easier using the leads this time. I was kind of lazy about that last time. I will not be doing lazy for these ones. It's also a lot easier to do these kinds of things once you've done it once. You kind of know where the problems or the pitfalls are. When you're first kind of doing it, you're just kind of... you never really know what you're doing. You're just kind of doing it. At least I am. Maybe other people plan a lot better. I don't know. Somehow I doubt it. Okay, last connection. Definitely use the leads like this. It's way easier. Okay, there we go. Done. Trying to start doing these a little bit faster. Hopefully each one goes a bit faster. Those better have been the negatives. Hopefully I didn't screw this up again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. No, I did it wrong, didn't I? No. I did something wrong here. Shoot. Did I do all these wrong? GND's the last one. I blew it again. Didn't I? I did. Shoot. Did I do all these incorrectly? Wait a second here. Did I do this wrong? Sincerely hope I did not. I did. I did every one of the LEDs improperly, didn't I? Maybe there's a way to recover from this. There is. I think I did them one off of where they're supposed to be. Because pin... Yeah. Okay, how are we gonna do this? No, I did them correct. I'm not accounting for the LED. Woo! Thought I messed up. I was not accounting for the LED legs in there because the LEDs are gonna fit in here. Yeah. Yeah. They are absolutely correct. Woof! Thought I messed that up. Okay. What we can do now is finish these up. Maybe I should do that. I'll finish one board and then go to the second two. So I have a visual guide once I know this is correct. But I know this is our ground plane over here. So maybe I'll plug this into ground. And I also know that this is our RX is pin 6. Yes? Yeah. Oh, that's why. I needed to make these a little longer because I actually use them to bend over the leads. They go through the board. Maybe I can just pre-bend this like that on like a right angle. Okay, there we go. Is that correct? Is that going to reach? What am I? This is going to RX. Oh, that's too short. These yellows are too short. I gotta ditch these. I cut them too short, for sure. So let's quickly punch out a few more yellows. A little longer this time. Something like that. The RX pin I know on the Arduino is the furthest one, kind of. And I believe the power and ground ones are a little bit further. The LEDs are the closest. Okay, there. Now let's punch out a few more of these. Making these slightly longer because I'm going to bend these on 90-degree angles. And why that's useful is when I stick it through the board, they just kind of automatically bend right over and will touch the pin where I need to solder. Okay, those are done again. Let's get this back in there. Boy, I got to make sure I don't screw this up. Okay. There we go. That worked well. So maybe what I'll do is I'll stick that one there and stick this one here. And I think we're good. There. Done. Okay. We have our RX lead in there. Is that correct? This is pin 5. Yeah, good. Pin 5's done, and that's plenty long now. And now we need a ground pin in here, I think. I think our ground is next. Now, did I make these too short? That's the question. Boy, that's really pushing it as well, isn't it? Let's see, where's the Arduino? No, those are fine. That's going to be perfect. Okay, good. So I think what I'm going to do with all of these is also pre-bend these at 90s. I'm going to extend the amount that's stripped to do the 90 angles. Okay. This one's a little short still. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do the same with the reds, the 5 volt. Make these a little bit longer and then give them 90-degree bends because they're going to have to go into the board the same way. These 90s actually helped a lot because it's just really easy to go straight through the board, and then you can just kind of twist it around until it's right over the pin next to it, and then you can just solder it directly on. Okay, so there's the 2 yellows. Okay, so red, our positive needs to be on pin 8. So let's go ahead and do that. Pin 8's over here. I think I did it on this outside one last time. That's not the right spot. There. Wait, this is incorrect. Doing this the wrong way. It's S, whole S. Gotta just remember that. You still do gotta kind of angle this thing down a bit. Maybe I should revisit those, and then instead of even doing 90s, I go like way over the 90. Oh boy, that's not cooperate. Sometimes the helping hand doesn't help. It hinders. The hindering hand. Okay, there we go. It's in there for now. See if I can tack that in place. There, that's done. That's done too. It looks a little sloppy, but I think it's okay. Done. Double check, make sure I soldered the right thing. Yeah, that is power. It's pin 8. Good. Let's go. Let's try overextending these like I said. Almost like more than 180 there. And then ground is pin 5, which is this pin. Yeah. And I always try to get the wire on the outside away from the one next to it. That seems somewhat helpful, usually. You get this guy in, get that guy in. Okay, that's perfect. Let's see if we can tack this. Okay, that's done too. I think my connections look quite a bit more reliable than last round. Because I'm, kind of know what I'm doing, know the flow now. Not too bad. Okay, so we have our power, our ground, and our RX pin all onto 5, 6, correct, and 8. Yeah, correct. Okay, so those are done. Now what do we need? We need LED. I'm going to put in the LED cables now as well. Which again, I'm going to strip these all a little bit longer and put bends on them. Because it's definitely helpful. Okay. I'm actually going a little bit past 90. Almost like a hook shape. Seems to work pretty well. Okay, there we go. And then these are going to go back to the Arduino and connect to the main board. And just where I need to, I can give it a little oomph and bend them over. I'll stick these in the helping hand. Stick my cable in the helping hand, keep that in the right spot. There. It's looking good. Okay, good. Oh shoot. I did it on the underneath of the board. That was dumb. You want to move fast, but not too fast. Now I'm going to have to use solder wick because it doesn't want to come off at all. Oh, come on. It's like heating the whole wire now. Ooh, this is a really difficult angle to work at. Ow! Okay, there, close. Well, I made a really nice solder joint. A little too nice. Okay, got that part off. Now that 90-degree angle is killing me because it doesn't want to come out. See if I can get the board in there good. And kind of yank on this guy. There, got it? Oh, let's do this the right way now. Can we... I don't usually have much luck wicking solder out of pinholes, but I think I kind of did it there. Let's try it one more time from this side. Got the top side pretty good, but the bottom side didn't go good. Boy, I don't want to have to, maybe I can just heat it and push it back through there. Usually I have pretty good luck doing that as well. Okay, so now what do we got to do? We have to get this guy back in there. Where's my guy? Maybe I can heat this and at least get it through. Maybe I can heat from the bottom and push from the top. Let's get it aligned on the hole. Man, one mistake like this can delay your process by minutes and minutes. Okay, there, I got it through. I'm going to call that good, success. And then I'm going to see if I can just bridge this. I'm not going to try bending or anything. Just going to bridge this connection with the one beside it. Did it pop all the way out? Shoot, I think it kind of did. Or did it? No, that's in there. Is it in there? Yeah, it's in there. Good, done. Whew. That was a nightmare. Note to self, don't mix up the sides. Okay, let's get this side unhooked, get this side hooked better. Do the rest of these. Okay. Let's get this. Oh boy, I need to keep it this way though. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, done. Trying to do these a bit quicker, but it seems like there's no way to go quickly with this stuff. Kind of just gotta feel like the quicker I tend to start to want to go, the more mistakes I start making, and then your time ends up doubling and tripling from there. Okay, there, that looks pretty good though. Okay, good. And number 4. Okay, that's good. Actually connected? No. See, this is one of those instances where I really couldn't see that that wasn't bridged, and then my LED wouldn't be working and I'd be wondering what's going on. But I did finally get it connected. Okay, great. Those are connected. So we have all our connections. We have power, we have ground, we have our data pin, our 4 LEDs that go to the ports on the Arduino, and now our DIN connections will be last. There's 2 plus a ground. And where does that... Oh wait, did I just solder in this ground pin and that's actually coming from... No. Where did I do... Oh, wait, I messed this up again. So this pin actually goes to the DIN. It's what it was supposed to do. And then the last ground actually comes off of the pin over here at the end. So I think what I'm going to do is unsolder this DIN connection, and then I'll just have to resolder that later. With the one that's already in the board. I think this is going to be much easier. And then what I'm going to do is see if I can get this in the board over here, because what happens is the grounds come all the way to the end here, and then what should be happening is this final ground pin. Ow! Cut myself. Oh shoot, man. Do I always cut myself? I did. Hold on, let me get a band. Alright, I'm back from mortal danger. Yo, bro. Foxy something. Foxy... Can't read it. I don't know what yo, bro is. But hey, good to see you. If you're still here on the chat, not sure. I'm kind of not looking at chat often, so if I don't see you, I'm sorry about that. But that's the way it is. Okay, so I cut myself on this. Put a little band-aid on. Let's keep going. What I need to do over here is trim this edge because it has some solder that's going to mess it up. I'm going to get that off. And then we're going to get this guy in on the end to connect the final ground pin. I'm going to bend this guy over as well. Hopefully this is going to fit through. It has a little solder nub on there from when I desoldered. Hopefully this will go through the board. Yeah, I kind of forced it through there. Good. Bend that over good. Get this guy clipped in. Get this guy clipped in. There. Oop. There, that's perfect. See if we can get this final solder on here. And we're going to make sure we get our solder planes connected. There. That's a little lumpy. I'm going to trim that guy off. There, perfect. Okay. So that guy's done. Now what do we got? So we have our ground to Arduino on here. Positive, negative, and then this negative, like I said, will go back to this DIN connector at the end. But I don't want to do that now or I won't be able to put it through the box. Okay, so at this point, are we done soldering everything? No, we still need to do the LEDs, but that's tricky as well. We're going to have to do some fitting on the box. Oh, and I see somebody wrote something again. What did it say? You can call me Leo XD. Yo, Leo XD, good to see you in the chat here. I hope you're enjoying the soldering here. We're working on a MIDI to USB converter for some old keyboards that I have. I built one yesterday. I have a working one. I just need to build 3 more, and then I kind of 3D printed these enclosures to hold it. So what I'm doing now is I'm finishing my second one because I need like 4 or 5 of these, and then I have 2 more over here that I'm hoping to complete today as well. And so that's where we're at. We're finalizing some stuff and just getting everything soldered together. All right. I don't know if you've been to this channel before as well, but we are building a Kajimi, which is a big polyphonic synthesizer. 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer. That's we're still working on that as well. So there you go. Okay, so what do we got? Now I think we're going to go ahead and, before I forget, we're going to go ahead and put in the optocoupler, which is right here. Kind of bend those pins into shape. Make sure it's the right orientation. Pin 1 through 8. Yeah, that looks correct. So does that. Okay, it's in there. Great. So we got our optocoupler installed. Pretty much, so the only connections we're going to have to solder in now are these 2, and then also that black lead that goes to this one. But we're going to have to wait to get it into the housing for that. And I also have to check which leg's which on the schematic. I'm looking at a schematic on the other screen. I'd show you, but it's kind of too much trouble to just do that right now. So whites to green 3. Yeah, so I think this is like perfect. Whites, green to 3. Yeah, it's going to be that way. Okay, great. Okay, so now step 2. What's next? Step 2, step 22 is more like it. Step 102. Okay, those guys are done. Now we need to start thinking about our enclosure and also the LEDs, how that's all going to go, which I've done before. I'm trying to decide whether I do the DIN connector first or the LEDs first. I think actually, because last time what happened is I had the DIN all soldered in and I kept having to move it for the LEDs, and then I broke off one of the DIN pins, which is kind of a bummer. I don't really want to do that. So I think I'm going to work on the LEDs first, and then we're going to go the DIN stuff afterwards. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way while we work, because we're going to need to place our LEDs and make sure it fits in the box properly. So there we go. And then I think I'm going to need to actually like bend these back too, so they're not you know, impeding anything as I put it in and out of the box. Okay, there we go. So now we need to get our LEDs lined up. The first one is it on? Let me look at my other box. Yeah, green, red, then blue, blue. Okay, green is first. So I'll just place this guy in here. I'm putting these in like this, because what I need to do is try to get the height right so it fits right coming out of the box holes really well. So that's what we're aiming for. Okay, green, red, and then it's blue and blue. These leads are kind of bent on these blue ones. It's not ideal. I think these were from some other project. Okay, there. Green, red, blue, blue. Well, these were a little tighter yesterday. That makes this whole process a little tougher. Because these are not just kind of like staying put in here. It's not ideal. But anyway, it is what it is. Okay, let's see if we can get this guy going now. Blue and blue. Trying to be really careful about, oh boy, I messed this up somehow. Green, red, blue. I did mess this up somehow. I did, but okay, we're going to jump it the other way. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, I kind of did. Did I mess these up? I think I messed these up. I did. Shoot. Well, I kind of did and I kind of didn't. They're actually going to work out okay, but I kind of messed something up here. Okay, so I have the ground planes on the wrong side. That's what I thought I was doing earlier, and I convinced myself that I wasn't, and then I still screwed it up. Okay, but we are going to need those for that, so I just need to trim a couple things off. Okay, let me double and triple check this because I don't want to mess it up. So green, that's going to go ground. That's positive, which should connect to that positive. Okay, I have it partly right. This will work out, like I said. I didn't do it right, but in the end, my mistake wasn't a bad one. It's kind of easily fixable. So there. And it's going to be the same for that one. Okay, there, good. And it's going to be the same for that one. Okay, good. And I tied that to that. That is not good. Okay, so how are we going to fix this one? We are going to cut this guy away. Okay. I'm just cutting this guy out. There. And then what we might do is just, not sure yet what we're going to do with this guy. And we definitely cut that guy away. And we'll sort that out in a second. So let's go ahead and line these up again. Green. Well, that was actually not a bad mistake. I just have to redo a couple other things. It'll be good for the positive leads because there's guide pins there. Ready? Green, red, blue, and blue. And what I'm doing is just jumpering that last blue one hole out, and we'll just bridge it. No biggie. Okay, so now we got to get these guys in there properly and kind of figure out where this is going to go. Green. Oh boy, this is tough. Green. Red. Well, what I'm doing is sticking them in the holes in the enclosure. And like I said, the whole exercise while we're doing this is to try to establish the right height to tack these on here. Oh yeah, don't want to get too low. Okay, our red's a little, okay there. Maybe it'd be easier to just push these all the way through as far as they can go and then plan to back these off a bit. I don't know. I did this differently the first time around. Not really differently, just slightly differently. Maybe this is the place to get it in here and tack it in and then know that you're going to back it off a bit. Okay, these are all in. Should I do that and then just plan to back it off a bit? I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, how much? Do we even need to back it off? This was already in there pretty far. I think we want to pre-back them off because it's too hard to tell otherwise. I know you don't know what I'm talking about on your end. But there are reasons why I don't think we want those in there all the way. I don't want them to stick, what I'm talking about is I don't want them to stick out too far through the enclosure. They just don't look right. I just want just the tops to stick out, and I also want them to be kind of even. So what I'm trying to do is get them about the amount I want to stick them out, and then I have to adjust the boards. So when I solder it, the board is also in the right place on this side. If that makes sense. It needs to be the right height on this side so it sits at the right place inside the housing. So somewhere just below these mounts. So what I want to do is get the board in the right spot and the LED in the right spot and then solder it in. That keeps wanting to fall down though. Like I said, last time this was a little stiffer, so I think what I'm going to have to do is try maybe a helping hand move. I'm not sure how this is going to go this time with this being a little difficult like this. Maybe I could put, I don't know. I don't know what to put in there. I think it might have to be a helping hand play. Might work. Let's try it. Now that makes it angle. Maybe even if it's, you know, I don't know, just a helping hand in there just to kind of prop it up. Yeah, I think that's the play. So that kind of just keeps it. Maybe I can do that, keep it in the right spot, and then be able to position my LEDs. And I can use another one for this side. Yeah, this looks like it might work. Let's try this out. This is actually the toughest part, is fooling with these LEDs, is to keep, you know, I mean, I suppose what I should probably do to not have to do this fidgeting every time, maybe try to measure these somehow, that like once I get this soldered in properly, measure it, and then next time, or I build the other ones before I put this in, and just make sure they're all the exact same distance off. That could work. This has to come up a little bit closer to the board. Okay, that LED is coming out. Okay, those are looking pretty good, but now this is out of alignment. This is really touchy and difficult. I mean, once I get like one of them in there kind of okay, I think we'll be okay. But it's just getting the one in there okay. That's the tough part. It's getting it started, right? That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to tack the first one. Shoot, moved. The LED height still looks okay, but the board height is not. It's kind of okay. Closer and closer. Like I said, hopefully I can get this in here and kind of tack it in, and then the next ones will go a little faster. If I can kind of match the board heights, just replicate them. I'm going to call that good. Hopefully this will stay. And I can get all just like one edges tacked. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there. It's all off a little bit, but hopefully that'll be okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think those are going to work out. That one's a little far, that blue one. And the green one there's a little uneven, but it's not a huge consideration. Maybe I can, I don't know what I can do about that. Do I need to do anything about that? I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at it again. The blue one's a little far. So what do we need to do? We need to push that back a little bit. So what I'm going to do is heat it and push it in a little bit. If I can. Okay, there. I did that. Hopefully I didn't go too far now. No, that's great. That worked out perfect. That's why I only did one lead on each side. So hopefully, you know, I could make these kinds of adjustments. That's actually looking pretty good for what's going to happen later, I think. I think that's okay. I may have actually pushed that blue one a little too far now. So let's... Can we heat it and push it back down? Sure we can. Okay, there. I pushed it down a bit. Now watch, it'll be way too far again. No, that's probably pretty good. Boy, this is the really tough part, is getting this right. But I think that's kind of close enough. I'm going to call that good. The blue one is down a little far again. But I think maybe it's down a little too far. Now it's going to go up too high. I just know it. Okay, there. I think it went too high. Let's see. I'm going to do this all day now, is just be pushing it in and out, like, and going too far each time. I'm going to call that good. Okay, so that's good. So now, with that done, maybe we could just match this on all the other boards first and solder those in, so we don't have to do this again. Like this whole fidgeting with it kind of thing. We just kind of know where they need to be. I'm going to try that. This may be a disaster as well, but it would be super helpful if we could do this. So green, red, blue, 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 blue. Okay. Now, how do we actually get this to the right spot? I don't know. Is there a way we can mark these off? Maybe I can measure it. Maybe I can measure it and then mark it with like a Sharpie or something. And then we'll know exactly how many millimeters it needs to go. So that's at like 16. What's this at? It's almost exactly the same, 16-ish. So we'll say 16. God, how's that going to work though? Maybe I hold it. What I can do is put this in here, bend this lead, and then I'll measure that lead. Okay, a little short of that, because that was almost 15. Let's try a Sharpie mark at 18. Okay. I don't think this is going to work. I think I'm going to do it the way I've been doing it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I think it's just going to be overall because this is hard and there's also micro adjustments that are going to need to go on. So I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to do that. Okay. At any rate, the LEDs are in there. What's next? I think all we need is the DIN, and then we plug this guy in. Okay, there. So those are going to go there. What else do we need? What? We need the DIN connector is next, I think. So what do we need to do? We're going to put this guy in. Okay, and last time I also didn't put these screws in before it was soldered, so that was much more difficult. I guess you guys can't see this offline or off the cam, but we're going to do that with the DIN connector. And then I got to put these little nuts on there, which is quite difficult. I think I'm going to do my same technique of using some tweezers. This worked quite well last time. And it should be a little easier this time because everything's not put together yet. It's definitely no walk in the park still. Actually, I had much better luck at this last time when it was even harder. I'm being a little more lazy this time, I think, because it seems like it should be easier, so I'm not being as... But what's happening is my nut keeps spinning around in there. All I really got to do is get it started. Once it's started, everything smooths out. It's just getting it started, right? Shoot. Okay, there. Finally. Got it started. I was lucky. Okay, one down, one to go. think I got it. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, pretty good. Let's try this one again. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't think those are going to back off. It's hard to tell how tight that is. I think it's looking okay. Good, so our DIN connector is in. You can see that. And flip that over. Got those in there. Now, we need to, okay, quickly, let's do a quick reassess. What else are we missing here? Or anything? What are we not doing? Do we have everything connected right? Yes, I believe not. Oh, we didn't finish our legs. That's what we haven't done yet. We haven't finished our soldering job here. So let's get back to that. I'm going to get this guy out of the way, get this guy back in here, and what do we need to do? We need to finish up our soldering here. So these are our LEDs. So I'm going to clip this back in. Okay, there. And I'm kicking you guys, kicking chat around. Here we go. Now, let's see what we got. Let's see if we can get these guys in here. These are perfect. I have those leads that I actually messed up, but they are going to work to connect these guys. Okay, good. And what we're working on now is we're actually connecting these guys to the resistors that then flow over to the ports on the Arduino. Okay, so those are done. Those are good. They're a little fat, but they're okay. I'm going to trim off some excess stuff here. Now, there, little excess trim jobs. Well, that guy I didn't do yet. I forgot. This is the one I messed up. And I need to cross-connect him across all of them. Okay, there. Just going to pre-trim that down to there. Okay, good. Now I just got to solder him in place. These are actually all the positive legs. There, and that ties him into the resistor. Yes, good. So all our positive legs are done, and all of our negative legs are done. Now we just need to connect grounds. This is the part I messed up. I was actually connecting all the positives instead of all the grounds. I didn't trim this one. Okay, that's trimmed up. Now we just need to run all these ground pins to the next one, which is great because we still have leads here. It doesn't quite reach all the way on some of these, but good enough. Will get us close. Oh, that one's quite short. It's okay. We can run this guy over like that. Get him closer. Okay, great. And now what do we need to do? We just need to solder all these guys in position. This one has to bridge a little bit. I have to bridge one to the other. There we go. This bridging stuff is kind of tricky if you've never done it before. This is what I messed up on yesterday, actually, when I built the first one. I couldn't tell, but one of these ground pins, it looked bridged, but it actually wasn't. It was just not connecting, and I just couldn't see it. And then when I reconnected it, it all worked really well. Okay, there we go. So now we need a, that one goes to DIN. We still need a ground connector, I think. Yeah, that's what we need. So I'm going to make one of those now. Where's my black? Down here. Because I cut that other one out. I don't know where it got off to. I'll just quickly make one more ground connector, and we'll be good there. Then I think we can focus on all of our DIN connections, and then we're done, other than just kind of putting it together finally. So those are our ground pins, which is, here, let me bend this over. Do this kind of hook thing again. That's been working pretty well. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. So let's get that guy trapped. That guy stuck. Okay, those are great positioning. Boy, this headset thing is really not ideal. And let's tack all this into place. Okay, there, perfect. It flowed together really well. And now I think that's our final ground connection. Our real ground this time. And now we just have to connect these guys to DIN. These guys are all data and what have you. So we have a ground, we have power. Yes, yes, yes. And those are the 4 data lines, ground, power, and RX. And this goes to the DIN. Correct. Okay, we're good there. Now, what are we going to do now? I think we're going to solder all the DIN stuff in, or just this one DIN connector. Or 3 DIN connectors. So 2 go to the board, and the ground one is going to go onto here. So I'm going to do the ground one first, I think. First, maybe I'll tin this up just a bit, to make it a little happier. How's this going to go? So our DINs going to go this direction, so I'm going to go here. Okay, there. Our DIN ground is in. And now I got to do this with as least amount of touching as possible. We want to go 4, that side goes to that guy there. Okay, and actually we messed these up a little bit. We want these a little longer again, and we want to bend it. Okay. Okay. Let's give those a little bend as well. Okay. And 4 goes to there. Okay, I kind of bent that on the wrong angle. 2 goes to there. There. And there. course, my bends were exactly opposite of the way it's kind of fitting in here. But I think it'll work out just fine. Okay, that's not bad. I'm going to do that. Kind of keep it that way. That one's going to go to pin 3, and that's 1, 2... Oh no, wait. Did I do this wrong? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Correct. Okay, so let's get these guys in here. Okay, that bridged well. I almost bridged it to the one next door. Okay, there. And then bridge it to her. There. Okay, great. There. So that one's done. Let's get this off gently. Trying to be gentle with these DIN connections, like I said. Quite a lot of extra lead, but I'd rather have extra than not enough. Okay, there we go. Those are looking good. Let's try to gently fit our LEDs in place and see where we're at. Those are also looking good. Not bad, not bad. Good. Okay, so now I think what we need to do is connect up the Arduino, and we're almost home free. I mean, it's a bit tricky. I do remember I need a bit of tape in here. I'm using this masking tape because I'm afraid the Arduino might ground. Because I have to put it here. I don't know if that's on cam, but I put a little tape in here so the Arduino pins from the bottom don't ground on the proto board somehow and cause a problem there. I think it'll be okay though. There we go. And now let's do our Arduino connections. I'm trying to be careful with my DIN connection back there, but I think we're okay. So I'm going to go this one. I'm going to swing over on this side. Ground, we'll do to ground over here. Okay, I'm going to bend him back. And then power is also on that side. Maybe I'll bring this around. We have plenty of room. And number 4 is VCC. Okay. There we go. Power and ground are in. And then here are 4 data connections, and then this is our RX, which I think is the second one here. Yep, number 2. And I'm generally trying to keep this board in line with where it should be. I'm just doing it kind of from how I did it last time. So, on is number, I believe, boy, I hope I don't mess these up. 7. Okay, where's 8? Everything's all tied in here. That's not 8. Here's 8. And the reason I had to do it this way, be careful. You needed to use a, and then 9 is modulation, I believe, and 10, maybe I can snake this under. And I am going to double check these too before I finish this, just to make sure I'm actually doing this correctly. And then 10 is pitch bend. And the reason I had to do 9 and 10 that way is because I fade the LEDs, and you need a pulse width modulation port. And on the micro, 9 and 10 are PWM ports. So important to note that. Okay, that's looking pretty good so far. Okay, and let me just double check those pin connections in my code. Maybe what I can do now is show you my code a bit. So I'll come back over here to this guy, and let's load that up. So we will come to the CRG screen. Okay. Oh wait, I can't show you. Shoot, I can't show you the pin connections because I don't have the code on this computer. It's on my Mac. I should have planned for that. Oh well. So we'll just switch back here. If my pin connections are wrong, I can just go ahead and reassign them in the firmware until I get it right. But I'm reasonably comfortable that they are correct. So let's get this thing now in place. Get our LEDs in there. Okay, there. I remember this happening last time too, where what are we bound up on here? There. This needs to come way down. These guys, this thing's way too far backwards. So we need to bend these guys forward. Okay, that's why. We are binding up on our... Which one is that binding up on? The power lead is wrapping around the LED improperly. So let's fix that. And we can, how can we do that? Let's get it to go from the other angle. Yoy. Okay, there we go. What am I having trouble with here? Is it still that LED? Oh. I may have too short of a power lead. I'm not sure yet. Because I had to really tug on that, and it felt like that's what my limiter was the power. Okay, there. Let's get that as stretched out as we can. There. Okay, better. We're in position. Okay, to bend out my LED. Well, this is the tricky part. It's actually not like sometimes programming or circuit building. It really is just the building part of just getting this stuff all kind of in here and in the right spots is sometimes the trickiest part of all of these builds, I find. Okay, so now what I did last time was with hot glue, I tacked this guy into place last time. And then after I tacked this guy into place, I went to, then I tacked, I can't remember, I got the LEDs lined, and then I tacked this to this, the Arduino to this. But before I do any of that, at this point, what we should do is a quick build test now. Make sure this works before I glue everything in and finalize. Okay, so here I'm going to kill my fan, and we're going to head over to the other computer, and I'm going to do a test over here. So let's see. Maybe I can, what can I do? I can probably rearrange my iPhone view over here. So let's go to this one. And then what we'll do is we'll make this a down cam. There. Okay. There's our box. And what do I need to do to test this? I need to plug it into a USB port, which I have here. Is there one longer than that? I guess not. Okay. And then I need a MIDI cable and a keyboard. So here I'm going to grab the keyboard. Okay, just leave this on the ground here. Here's the keyboard. I need some power for this guy. Pull this over here. Okay. There we go. Okay, this guy's all powered up. Turn that on. And I need a MIDI cable. Okay. MIDI out. MIDI in over here. In our DIN in our box. This is always the fingers crossed kind of section. What's so troublesome here? There, a little tight. Okay, got to keep that level. Try to plug this in gently when everything's unsoldered. There, got that in. We should be good to go now. I'm going to press those up through so hopefully we can see the... okay, we'll go. Won't stay, but I can see it on my end. Let's see here. Can I get it to stay? There. Nothing. That's a bad sign. Okay, I must have missed something. Missed something in the mix here. See the modulation or anything work? No. All this with no payoff, right? Okay, so we got power to everything. The Arduino is powered, but we are not getting any outputs. So something's missing. Either one of our connections is wrong, or I didn't connect something or cross-connected. I'm going to have to do some looking, but here's our working one. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. This is one I finished yesterday and already plugged in and everything. So there's that. And then we will plug this in, and you can see it's already transmitting. That's the modulation, which is, I can't see it on my end now, which is this guy. So as you turn the modulation up, one of those blue ones slowly gets brighter. And as you do the pitch bend, it gets bright. That's the other blue one. And if you go down, it gets bright. So the middle position is off, and then up is on, and down is on. And then the keys, green shows what, if I press green, boom, it comes on, and then when I let go, it turns red. On the camera, from my view, you can't really see it, and then it does with multiple keys, they overlap a little bit, but it doesn't. So green on, and then when you let go, it turns red. And I have it so it just comes on for 1/100th of a second, just the flash. So you see that a note's been activated, but it won't stay green and on. It'll just, when you let go, it turns red. Because when you start doing multiple notes, it would just be like a solid green light the whole time. In modulation is blue. It kind of gets brighter. I don't think you can really see it on your end, and then the pitch bend is the other blue one. So this one's working. The other one I'm going to have to debug now. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do that to see if we can figure out what the heck is going on here. So maybe I'll switch back to the other cam view, the SE2, and see if we can debug this guy. Okay, so we're back here at the workbench. Let's see what we got. I'm kind of tracing this out. So number 4, pin 4 from the DIN goes to pin 2 here, which is correct. Yeah, and that one's correct. So the DIN connector looks correct, and the resistor and the diode also look correct. And those 3 are connected, those 3 are connected, those 2 are connected. Okay, so that side looks fine. Okay, now let's move on. I'm gonna have to pull this out a little bit more. Kind of be careful about my DIN connectors over there. So then what do we got? We have resistor. I'm looking at the, I can show you in a second the schematic on the screen to double check everything. That is that one. Correct, that goes to 8 and 6. 8, 6. Which is also TX, correct. T8. Boom, boom, boom. 8, yeah, positive. That goes to correct, TX. And then that one yeah, correct. Now those are grounds. 1, 2, 3. I missed a ground pin again. Okay. I missed this one here. It may be hard to see, but there is a ground pin between this black one coming from the DIN. It should be connected to this first LED ground, and I did not bridge the ground there. So I did the same thing in a different spot this time. So I'm going to turn this guy back on, let that heat up. Man, it's tricky you can easily miss these bridges and stuff. So I have to bridge where it's going to the DIN to this first leg on the green LED ground. And I missed it again. This is my second run through here, and I still did it. It's those 2. I mean, at least it was a simple mistake. Okay, let's heat these both up. It's going to be a bit tricky to get these really hot. And also not bridge to the one beside it. Oh, there, I think I did it. I filled in the hole over there, but it's not connected to anything, so that should be just fine. Okay, now let's try to gently get everything finessed back in here. Oh, we're getting close now. Getting close. I'm pretty confident that when we go back over here to the other cam view, this is going to be just fine. Let's go to the iPhone. Where is it? It's not main cam, SE. Yeah, there we go. Got that guy back in there. Let's see if we give this a shot, if it actually works this time. So I'm going to gently, again, plug this guy in. Okay, we'll flip it over and then put our DIN connector back in. There we go. Now, can I hold the LEDs up through here so we can see? Okay, there. Finally. So green and then red. Green on, red off. Green, red. Green. Oh, that looks weird. Did you see that? Wait. Green, red. Green, red. Green, red. Yeah, correct. It's working right. Okay, and then let's try the mod wheel. Can I hold this so you can see it? Yeah. Oh, there. You can see it a lot now. So it gets brighter as you turn the mod wheel up, and then the pitch bend, when you go up, it gets brighter, and when you go down, it gets brighter, and then the middle position, it's off. Okay, good. So there we go. And it's working. So this one is a working unit. I'm going to unplug this. Now what we got to do is, here, I'm going to switch back over to the, where are we at? To SE2. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I need the hot glue gun and a piece of scrap paper so we don't glue up our desk. And now we need to do some hot gluing. Where do I have to put this into? Here, let's get rid of this microscope thing. We can use this one. Oh, that was the microscope cam. We didn't use that anyway. Okay, so our hot glue is heating up here. Good. Now, we need our base plate, which will glue. What I did last time is I got this thing positioned right, tacked it in these two edges. Can you see it? Yeah. So what I did last time is tack that guy in on two edges here and got it right, and then tacked the back end of it to the PCB. The Arduino I glue onto the PCB, and then I just ran a bunch of glue all over the PCB and stuck the plate on there and screwed it into position. And that's, of course, making sure that our LEDs were right out here. And that's the only thing I'm a little worried about with this one, is it seems a little deeper on this one. So I'm wondering if the LEDs are going to want to pop in. We're gonna see. Hopefully they won't pop back too far. These, I think I got them a little shallow. As long as they're like there or something, it'll be fine. I just hope they don't go all the way in. But either way, I think it'll work out. Okay, so I just got to let this guy heat up. I think after I finish this one, I am going to take a break. I have two more to do. I probably will just end up doing those off stream because they takes longer when I have to do it on stream. So I'm just going to bust the other two out. I think my goal is tomorrow to start streaming the Kajimi build again. I'll probably build the first voice card. Not sure, but I think that's kind of my tentative goal to get to for tomorrow. Okay. How is our hot glue looking? Not good so far. It's still a little stiff. I'm gonna get another glue stick. If I can find the damn glue stick. Well, I don't have it anymore. I don't know where it's at. Well, hopefully that'll be enough, because I can't find them. I don't know where the heck they're at. They're around somewhere. Maybe I have them out here somewhere? I don't know. Anyway. It's starting to get hot. Not super hot yet. All right, let's see here. We close. Okay, it's just starting to ooze out. I really want it to be a little hotter. You know what I need to have on hand? I need to have my 4 screws. So when we're ready to close the plate, I can just quickly grab the wrench here and the screws and get it on there. Okay, I think we're close. Maybe I can tack this. I think I still need my magnifier. It makes this a lot easier. Okay. Have our magnifier here. Okay, let's get this guy in here now. First, I'm going to hold it where I think I want it. I think I'm going to do one side and then reassess. Oh boy, I'm going to burn myself. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is try to hold this and center. Looks about right. Yeah, that's about right. And then I'm going to do the other side. Just run the whole length there now. See if we can get that in well. Okay, that looks just about right. What I'm trying to do is just get this, you know, level as possible and just kind of square in there. It does tend to have like a little bit of an angle because of the PCB. Kind of pushes it up or something, but I don't really care about that much. The main reason for gluing this in here too is just kind of like, what do I want to say, stability. So it's not going to, when you push in and out the what have you, the micro USB connector, that it doesn't go anywhere. I don't want it to, you know, pop out in the back or whatever. Okay, so then once we get that, I think the next step is to make sure our LEDs are in there properly. And then we're going to put the, this guy is going to come down. And we're going to make sure that this guy glues to the, we're going to glue the Arduino to the PCB now. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Is squirt a bunch of glue in here. And we're going to push the Arduino and make sure the LEDs go in and be where they need to be. Then we're going to make sure the Arduino is kind of down where it needs to be. Okay, I'm trying to get the LEDs to a nice position. Like I said, the Arduino connector, the micro USB, is a little bit, you know, wonky. It's positioning, but it's, I mean, meaning that it's a little angled, but that's fine. And then what I'm going to do again this time, which I think I did last time, is I'm going to glue into the DIN ground pin, the PCB here. I'm going to have it just tack it to the ground pin, so it hopefully keeps the the position of the LEDs in the right spot as well. So I'm going to get those where I want them, pin that in. For some reason, the Arduino is a little bit more angled. I think it's because my LEDs are shorter this time. push the Arduino up in a little bit more, so we're on more of an angle there. I don't think that's going to be a big deal, but we'll see. I'll test it after this. I'm trying to, oops, I'm letting this kind of come out of position as I talk. So I got that connected to the DIN pin, letting it starting to harden up now. Trying to keep the LEDs right where they need to be. And then hopefully we'll have something there. That looks about right. Those look great. This all looks great. It's a little bit of on an angle, like I said, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue. I'm going to clear away some of the kind of hot glue string here. Party cheese string. Okay, there we go. That looks quite nice, though. I'm also going to trim away. I don't know if I need to trim that away or not. I might. I think I'm going to try a little bit of an X-Acto knife, because when I put in the plate, oh wait, no, it's going to get me into there. Trying to just trim away some of this glue, not all of it though, because when I put the retainer plate on, I don't want it to bulk out when it hits this. So let's see when I do that, if that does that. I actually think that's going to be just fine. I'm not going to mess with that anymore, because I do like that seal there, because it keeps the Arduino from moving. Okay, good. That's good. That looks good, and that's kind of in place. Now let's see, is this actually going to touch this time? Well, I can't tell. We're just gonna put a healthy bead of glue on there then, and hope that that reaches and touches. Okay. And then we're going to squeeze that on, and we should be good to go. So let's do that, and we're going to seal it up. Okay, so that's kind of the last look, and let's button this guy up. So I'm just going to put a ton of glue, especially right here, because it's a little the lowest point, and I want it to reach up and hit the plate if it can. Okay, so I'm going to push that into position. And now while I'm holding that in position, I'm going to quickly screw these guys in to hold it tighter so I don't have to squeeze so hard. Maybe I'll check my... Okay, LEDs look good. Last kind of final visual check of the LEDs. I probably should have maybe did one final check before I buttoned this up, just to make sure I didn't knock anything loose or something, praying I didn't, or I'd have to try to rip all this apart again, which is a pain in the butt. Always try to double and triple check your circuit before you do your final kind of boxing steps. I'm always bad at that, and then catch myself and have to, do weird stuff to fix everything, which ends up burning up a lot of time. Okay, that went well, so far anyway. Got a little extra glue on my bottom here. I can see if I can get that off. It's kind of ugly. This looks great. I don't know what I'm going to get that off with. Maybe a little brass thing or something. Maybe I don't want to scratch it too much. I'll damage the plastic, but we got a little hot glue on there. Guess it's on the bottom. Okay, that looks good. It all looks good. The LED, get this hot glue fuzz off of here. It looks like the LEDs are perfect positioning. That turned out well overall. There, I don't know if you guys can see that well. This was on a bit of an angle, but I think it looks great. Boy, I can feel the heat penetrating through from the hot glue. Our DIN looks great. That's in there well. That's kind of our top view. And then our USB. So let's give it a final. Everything's together now. That hot glue seems to be setting in and drying up. I'm going to just kind of get that off the bottom, but I can scrub that off with a... Here, wait. Maybe one of these toothbrush things will do it. I don't think so, though. Okay, no big deal. Now, let's switch over, get rid of that stupid head visor. Whew. Okay, go back to our main cam. No, not that one. We want our SE camera. There, it's kind of our overhead. There. So those are all the LEDs. This is it. There's the USB connection. It is kind of a gap up there. It's no big deal. I did glue in the bottom, so it's nice and firm. And then there's our DIN connector on this side. It's looking pretty good. Let's give it a final test. Fingers crossed. Go ahead and plug the micro USB in. So the Arduino kick on. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug in our DIN and give it a whirl. Okay, good. Green, red, green, red, green, on, off, on, off, on, off. Yep. Let's try the modulation. Yep, our blue modulation. And modulate our pitch bend up, pitch bend down. Yep, it's working. Okay, so, and then let's try our green and red again, our turn off the modulation. It's kind of interfering with the camera. There we go. There. So, awesome. 2 down. Boy, that's always a lot of work. So, I have 2 finished boxes. I did add my little logo in there for my name. It was kind of fun. But, okay. 2 MIDI USB connector boxes done. I think I'm going to try to finish the other 2 in the afternoon here, probably off stream. All right. So there you go. Let's see. So let me switch back to my main cam. And we'll switch back over here. And I'll move this chair back over. All right, so there you have it. I'm all hot and sweaty from doing that. My head hurts from that visor. That was a good session. At least we got another functioning unit here finished. Man, these projects always seem to take longer than you think. Hopefully I can bust the other 2 out before the evening and finish that one up, and I'll have 4 of these working. And then, like I said, I think tomorrow I'll probably jump back into the Kajimi and start working on the voice cards. And hopefully I can get Fusion set up on here and some of the code or something on the PC, so I can at least show you what's going on. I would switch over. I have a camera capture card that I was using with the Mac monitor, but now the new Mac M1, the one I have anyway, the 2020 or whatever, won't do 2 monitors at once. It'll only do 1 and all that stuff. So it's a bit complicated. Anyway, that's it for today, I think. Thanks for anyone who joined. If you ever have questions or you want to see some kind of content, just let me know. Take care. Have a great day. See you later.